Today we jump into the AWS Cloud Fundamental service. Alright, so these are the main components of AWS Cloud that we need to understand, we need to know before we are running our workload and also application in AWS Cloud. So I will describe here in 6 components. First is compute, second storage, database, security, management and networking. In the first item, compute, we call Amazon EC2 instance, AWS Lambda, and also additional another compute, right? Storage, we will talking about the AWS S3, EFS, and also EBS. Database, we will talk about the Amazon RDS, DynamoDB. Security is the first item and the first service we need to know before we jumping into the AWS Cloud, like AWS IAM and also AWS Web, and we will talk more for another AWS security as well. Management tool, we will talk about the AWS CloudWatch, what the CloudWatch and what is the AWS CloudTrail. Networking, we will understand on how to set up network in AWS Cloud, we call VPC, and also Amazon CloudFront and AWS Route 53. Okay, so let's jump into the next one. So for the first component that I'm talking about here, I will take IAM will be the first service that we need to understand before we set up AWS Cloud account in our workload, right? Okay, so why we need to know about IAM first before we are moving to the next service? Okay, the answer is that IAM is just like a key or credential that we are have an access into our AWS Cloud services like AWS Console and also AWS SDK and CLI, right? For example, it's like a key before we jump into your home. Easy, right? Yeah. So IAM is statement like the identity and access management. It is the global service. Yeah. So when you have an AWS account console, you will have a root account created by default, and as a best practice, this root account we shouldn't use it or share to anyone. Yeah. So by using this root account, you can create an users within your organization and also the group to define and create a group, and then you invite the user into those group, right? So group only contain user, not another group. For example, if you have administrator group, if you have a DevOps group, if you have developer group, so you can define create those group and then create a different IAM user and add those user into appropriate group. Yeah. So user doesn't have belong to a group, and user can belong to multiple group. Yeah. As for example, here we have for example Alice and Bob. They are developers. Yeah. And David, Edward, they are the group operations. But Cherish and David, they also developer and also operation group, right? So we can create a separate group. In here we can create a different 3 group, right? We have developer group, we have audit group, and also operation group. Then Alice and Bob, they are only have an access into developer group only. Yep. And Edward, they have an access only in operation group only. But for Cherish and David, they have an access in operation group for David and also audit group, but for Cherish they have an access into the audit group and also developer group. Yep. So this is the main important that we need to define. I mean, we can create a separate group, and then we create a user and assign to those group, because the policy we can set to those group. We don't need to set or create policy to each user. You just assign the policy to the group, and then the user inside the group, they will have an access to those policy that we have defined in the group. Yeah. So it's the definition that I want to show you to get understand about the access and policy for those user and group. Yeah. Okay. So I am permission, for example here. Yeah, user or group can be assigned a JSON document called policy. Yeah, this policy define the permission of the user. Yep, and in AWS you can apply less privilege principle. Don't give more permission than a user need. Yep, that's mean if the user have permission like to describe, to access the EC2 instance, like to view the EC2 instance, so you just put the action like EC2 describe and then allow that to the user only. Yeah. Okay, we'll be talking more detail on the next slide. This one we will talking about the MFA overview. Sometimes we call two-factor authentication. Definitely by right, when we have an account access to your workload or your AWS account, you will need some layers additional security to your account, right? Definitely. If you don't secure your IAM, and then your workload, it will be not secure anymore. And also this one is the best practice that AWS has recommended to your AWS account. So user need to have an MFA involved. Yeah, this is for protecting our AWS workload. Okay, I think you will be easy to understand for this part. Even though you have any another account like Facebook and also Google, you also have to be enabled the MFA authentication, right? Yep. Okay, so we can move forward. So AWS IAM is not only just access into the AWS console. We also can use IAM to do a command line to access via AWS CLI. Yeah, and also the software development kit, SDK as well. Right. So when you create an AWS account, when you create a user access in your AWS account, you can specify those IAM credentials to be accessed console, or either they access only the CLI and also they access only the SDK, or also if they are required to access for all these three functions in your AWS workload. Yep. And the access key are generated through AWS console, and then we as a user can manage our own access key. Access key are secret, just like a password, so you don't share them to anyone. This is very confidential. Yeah. Access key is like username, and secret key is just like a password. For example, like given you in example here. Yeah. So this access key and key ID, it will be generated from AWS Cloud by itself, so you don't share it to anyone. It is your own credential. Please remember that. Yep. Okay, next we are going to talk about the IAM role. So IAM role for services, like we will need it to perform action on your behalf. To do so, we will assign permission to AWS service with our IAM role. Common roles such as EC2 instance role, Lambda function role, role for cloud formation. Okay, in summary here, IAM in best practice, don't use the root account except for AWS account setup. One physical user using only one AWS user. Don't manage or don't provide them use to multiple user. Okay, assign user to group and assign permission to the group. Yeah, so create a strong password policy such as have a capital letter, have a special character, and you set a policy to change those password frequently, like 1 month, 3 months, depend on your use cases. Yeah, so enforce IAM user to use the multi-factor authentication MFA for additional security. Yeah, and also create an use the role for giving permission to AWS services. All right, so IAM can use for access key for CLI and also SDK. Yep, audit permission for your account with the IAM credential report. And last but not least, never share your IAM user and access key to anyone. This is very important. Okay, so this is the shared responsibility model for IAM between you and as a customer and also a cloud provider is AWS here. So AWS, they will cover the infrastructure, global network security, the configuration, and also vulnerability analysis and compliance validation. So for you as a customer, as a user, you are responsible on the users group rule policy management and monitoring that you have managed, that you create. You need to enable MFA on your all accounts in AWS workload. You have to rotate your keys often. You have to use IAM tool to apply appropriate permissions and analyze access pattern and review permission. Okay, so this is the responsibility model for IAM. So again, this is very important for your exam as well, the AWS best practices. So please remember those. Yeah, before we are moving to the next one. Alright, so thank you guys for your time, for your attention to this video. So we're moving to the next one of our AWS core component. Thank you. See you guys.